In New South Wales, there is one medicine which is perfectly legal, but if you use it, you're not allowed to drive. I don't just mean if it's impairing you, making you a worse driver. I mean if the roadside drug test picks up any trace of this drug at all, the police will charge you with a crime. It's not benzodiazepines like Valium, it's not morphine or oxycodone. The cops don't even test for these. It's medicinal cannabis. The impairment from THC in cannabis lasts for a few hours, but the chemical can stay in your body for days afterwards. That means if you're a regular cannabis user, you are de facto banned from driving. But if you're a regular heroin user, don't worry. The cops don't test for it. They only test for four drugs: methamphetamine, cocaine, MDMA, and cannabis. It's an offence under Section 111 of the Road Transport Act to drive with any trace of these drugs in your system. This law forces patients to make a horrible choice: either forego a medicine which could really benefit you, or risk losing your license. Particularly if you live in a regional area with poor public transport, not being able to drive might mean you can't work. There's also a separate offence of driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs under Section 112 of the Act, and this actually targets impaired driving. Now, a few stoners have said to me that their driving isn't impaired while they're high, in fact, they drive more carefully. I'm sorry, but there is a clear scientific consensus that if you drive while high, then you have slower reaction times, cognitive impairment, and an increased crash risk. So please don't drive while you're high, but you should be allowed to drive the next day. Cops love these drug driving laws because it gives them something to do. It's part of the broader war on drugs, which has never stopped anybody from actually using drugs, but it does justify employing a lot of police, and it lets them go after their usual victims based on class or race. So, what should change? Well, one idea is to test for a level of THC that correlates to impairment. That's what we do with alcohol. There's good science behind the 0.05% blood alcohol limit. But unlike alcohol, there is no direct correlation between THC levels and impairment. Everybody's metabolism is different, and for chronic users, sorry about the pun, they can develop a resistance to THC. So if they take a very high dose, it may have very little effect on them, but if you gave the same amount of THC to a first-time user, it might knock them out. It would be simple to remove medicinal cannabis from the list of illicit drugs for roadside drug testing. You could even leave the other law against impaired driving in place. None of us want impaired drivers on the road, but it's bizarre that people who are taking illegally prescribed medicine when they're not impaired to be caught up in this. There's a number of organisations working on this. One that you should look up is Unharm. You can read a lot more on their website, including a template to email your MP.